What's up, friends? I'm Jonathan Miller, and welcome back to Jonathan Miller Music, where we help each other become better artists. EXO is finally back with their 7th full album, Exist, in spite of SM Entertainment's recent struggles, EXO CBX's lawsuit that ended up being resolved quickly, Kai leaving for the military, and Lay parting ways with SM. Luckily, EXO is still here to wear their crowns for all to see as Exist topped iTunes in over 66 countries, and title track Cream Soda hit #1 in 46 countries. EXO also recently became SEPTUPLE million sellers when Exist passed 1.5 million copies sold, showing everyone that EXO still reigns as one of K-pop's most popular acts. If you're new to the series, we're going through Exist track by track, and I'll be sharing my thoughts on its productions, track listing, genres and influences, and more. Of course, these are just my opinions. Yours may be different, and that's perfectly okay. So hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, and consider becoming a channel member if you want to help me make more K-pop reviews and deep dives. Leave me a comment telling me your favorite songs on the album, and here's my review of EXO's 7th full album, Exist. The album begins with dance pop title track Cream Soda that, despite me being a dance pop songwriter, admittedly took me a little bit of time to appreciate. It needed to marinate with a few extra listens. The music video is smooth and mature, and their vocals on this track are just as impressive as ever. Chen in particular can do riffs and runs that are as equally impactful as they are incredible and mystifying. All of the members' sleek falsettos give Cream Soda a nice layer of sophistication that does set up the listener for what's to come on the rest of Exist. However, it is essentially Exist's only dance pop number, so giving it a bookend placement in the track listing was probably for the best. Lyrically, they are nothing alike, but sonically, Cream Soda is like a more refined version of Taylor Swift's Shake It Off. Is Cream Soda a bad song? No. Is it my favorite EXO title track? No, Mama exists, and that is a god tier song. Jokes aside, as somebody who used to be admittedly very resistant to new music, which I think you can actually see in some of my older videos like pre-2019, healing from your trauma is a good thing. It helps you figure out why you might be so stuck in your ways. Anyway, nowadays, if I find a song that I don't immediately connect with, I always try to stop myself, listen to it a few more times, watch the music video a few more times in order to find things that I do enjoy. Because in almost every song, I can find something I like about it, such as the beautiful harmonies and production techniques on this track. I enjoy the way it progresses from section to section, and I think the songwriting transitions between them are stellar. The melody on I Need All Ya Cream Soda might not be my favorite melody in EXO history, but if you came to this channel wanting me to call a song outright bad, I don't know, you can go check out one of the other channels that do that say controversial things with the robot voice. There's plenty of them. The rest of the album, however, is fantastic. Just like DistroKid. DistroKid is the leading music distribution platform on the market, helping independent artists like you and me get our music up on places like Apple Music, Spotify, Amazon, and even here on YouTube. For one small yearly price, you can distribute as much music as you want without breaking the bank. Depending on which plan you decide is right for you, you'll gain access to a whole library of additional features to help you grow, manage, and promote your music too. One of these fantastic features is called Instant Share. Instant Share is actually a file sharing service where you can store or send files of your own. All file types and sizes are accepted. You don't even have a limit to how much you can store if you're a member. This is an excellent way to send big files, like maybe an entire project file, to your producer, for example. Right from within the platform, you can preview your music, photos, and videos instantly before sending them off to someone. You can even password protect your files or make sure they're deleted within a certain time frame. So use my special VIP link to save yourself 7% on your first year's membership with DistroKid. Link is in the description. Regret It has a really cool, funky intro, and if Cream Soda had not been on the album, this absolutely should have been the album opener. It's got an old school vibe that I feel more accurately sets up the listener for the R&B driven sound that's present throughout the rest of Exist. I thought the way the verses sound unique in comparison to the intro and even the chorus was really, really cool. It keeps your attention as a listener and challenges what you might expect to be coming next. The melody on Don't Make Me Regret It is such a great pop hook. It makes the whole song super catchy, and I love how the outro brings back in that same funk and flair of the intro, so the whole thing comes full circle. It was an instant favorite for me. This might be controversial to say based on current Spotify numbers, but Hear Me Out is my personal favorite single from Exist. It's an easy listening R&B number that doesn't have a ton of bells and whistles. It's super refined and chill. This style is so perfect for the EXO members because it shows off their lower vocal registers, but it still provides nice slices of that high note ear butter to create such a savory treat. The transition from the B section right into the chorus is so smooth. I love it every time. The music video is fun because it's basically just the members messing with each other. That energy against a laid-back track is not only refreshing, but creates a comfortable atmosphere for everyone to enjoy. Therefore, Hear Me Out, as I said, is definitely one of my favorites. Private Party has an interesting switch up in the beginning. It starts off with vocalizations and pad hits that make you think the song is gonna be one way. Then right around the 18-second mark, the beat comes in and the track really begins. The throwback beat, in my opinion, is what makes the song super cool. It's very 80s and yet super mid-2000s, and I just love that combination. It feels like a lot of the songs that I grew up with, but also modern too, so I was all for it the first time I heard it. Honestly, to have 8 male vocalists with such strong mixed voices is so rare, and this album really showcases that talent in the best of ways. Also, the vocal chop of the party right at the end was such a small but expert level production technique to give the melody some new life and just make the song all that more interesting. Private Party is a great one. Cinderella's got nice, plucky verses with soft melodies. The B section progresses fairly traditionally. The la 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 Cinderella hook is big and catchy. In the bridge, there's this oscillating snare, I think is what it is, and it's really cool. I like the way it pings back and forth. The song is a bit short, but I don't feel like there's any parts that are missing. It's got all the goods, it's just something I noticed. Overall, another solid R&B track on this record. This song instantly called me back to like No Strings Attached era NSYNC in all the most positive of ways. Their combination of R&B vocal harmonies with pop progressions and melodies put such a smile on my face. If you love EXO for how well they blend with each other, No Makeup should bring you all the joy in the world. EXO can sing, and those high notes dotting around in the background throughout the entirety of the track just continues to prove that fact. Not that it's a fact really needing to be proved, but you know what I mean. Transitioning from the softer No Makeup, Love Fool gives us another bait and switch intro. You think the song is going one way, and then the energy kicks right in. The chorus is again fantastic and catchy. I love the way EXO explored retro styles across the album because it creates such a vibe and a sleek mood. I kept thinking while listening to Love Fool how cool it would be if Red Velvet did a cover of this song, because it would blend into their discography so well. It's such a good song. I hope EXO does a live version of this someday because it's a great track and a nice upturn in energy in the overall track listing. Another Day is a bit different from the rest of Exist, but absolutely still feels cohesive with it. The track progresses in a fairly traditional songwriting structure, but its inconsistent beat and chill rhythms create nice auditory interest. It actually expands on a lot of the more traditional R&B elements on Exist and pushes those limits out a little bit, while still staying within the familiar confines of pop. That balance is actually done very well as a whole on this album, but especially on Another Day. Another nice little switch up before we round out the record. I wouldn't necessarily classify Let Me In as the traditional ballad at the end of an album, but it's certainly not an up-tempo dance pop track like Cream Soda either. It does its job well. It provides a nice soft landing for the listener. Even though this album is predominantly a softer album at large, I love the chorus and dreamy vibe of this song. The music video is stunning, as I said in my June comeback recap. EXO always hits the notes that you want, so nothing ever feels unfinished. This is absolutely the best album closer they could have chosen because it really is beautiful. Exist only contains a few genre influences that I heard, because as I previously mentioned, it keeps itself in a nice neat box, but doesn't forget to make that box roomy. So here's how I would break it down. I put its umbrella genre as K-pop like we usually do. Umbrella genres are the easiest and broadest label to put on things, so this is pretty obvious. I'd say its subgenre is, as you might expect, R&B. Short for rhythm and blues, R&B is a genre created by Black people and is frequently associated with genres like hip-hop and rap, but all three are distinct genres themselves. R&B is the most dominating sound on the entirety of Exist, and all of the songs are formatted in R&B style productions. I'd say its niche is going to be hip-hop. Again, hip-hop and R&B go hand in hand a lot, and one of the ways EXO pushes the limits of R&B on this album is incorporating one of their signature sounds, rap and hip-hop. However, those two aren't the focus as compared to other records, but that influence is still there, which helps make this album unmistakably EXO. Surprisingly, I'd say its micro niche is pop. It's very rare that I put pop as a micro niche, but as I said, Exist is predominantly an R&B record that only occasionally borrows top 40 hooks in strategic places to keep the album radio friendly and catchy. R&B doesn't necessarily always care about catchiness, as it's a very stylized genre at its root, which is why many vocalists lean into it for a dose of maturity. But pop is all about getting in the listeners' heads, so in order to keep Exist feeling like a K-pop album, EXO doesn't forget those pop confections, giving us a K-pop album containing influences of trap, alternative pop, and synth pop, utilizing predominantly R&B productions with hip-hop beats and progressions to amplify its vocals, lyrics, and signature pop melodies to highlight the strength of its artists as one collective unit. If you are an R&B lover and you enjoy modern spins on mid-2000s pop R&B, you are gonna love this record, especially if you love boy groups and male vocalists. I think this is a pretty solid return and a nice growth step for EXO as a whole. It might not be as outwardly hooky as some of their previous releases, but their artistry is still on full display. EXO is just as strong as ever, providing entertainment and ear butter, which I'm pretty sure is why EXO exists.